Hi, Tom Taylor here. I'm going to do a series of chordal updates for those of you that are playing guitar fairly proficiently. You know, you're happy with what you're doing, but maybe looking at other players and going, holy smokes, what are those chords they're playing? I don't recognize any of that. Because if you're like most players, you started off with things like G, C, D, maybe E minor, A minor, D minor. There's an awful lot that can be done on the instrument in the first 3 frets, hundreds and hundreds of songs. So there's no problem with any of that. But as I say, if you're at the stage where you think, gosh, is there, what's all the rest of this for? You might want to start doing some exploring with me right now. Okay, so let's start with a chord that maybe was probably one of the first ones you learned. It was an E minor. Remember this? Okay, somewhere along the line, if you got into bar chords, you found out that you can play that chord other places on the guitar, like maybe here. And essentially what this finger is doing is making this the end of the guitar now. So you're really playing the same chord. It's obviously not an E minor because you've changed where it is on the instrument. Those chords take their name from the bottom string, the E string. So if this is E, F sharp, G, there's A. And if you compare it to the A minor down here, you can hear it's the same chord. Okay? So, the only thing with this is it tends to sound a little bit orchestral. It's kind of huge. And with more, maybe some more modern pieces, or if there's some like jazzy things that you might want to try and things like that, it's not really something you would ever hear. So, what you can do is you can eliminate some notes. For example, there's the root A. Well, guess what? Here it is again. And here it is again. So out of 6 strings, you've got 3 notes that are the same. Then you've got another 2 that are the same. And then finally 1 that's different, the third, which is the note C. By the way, if you don't know chord spellings, don't worry about it. I'll refer to them here and there as we go along. But it's not critical to what we're doing here. Alrighty, going back to this A minor that you know, you may have come across what happens if you lift this finger and make that an open G string. Now you've got that soft minor 7 sound. Sort of sets up some motion in there. So if we look at this chord and we eliminate this note, because we've already got it here, and we eliminate this note, because we already got it here, we go into a completely different chord form where this finger, the second, is playing the root, and this guy is just laying across the rest of them. Now you've got the root, you've got that G note to soften it up, the 7th, the 3rd, the 5th, and the root. And that's the sound of it. Okay? Now that's kind of nice if you want to do like some strumming like this. Or maybe if you're doing some funk type feel to it. You'll notice you have a lot more control over the strings. And the reason for that is because all the strings are fretted, whereas with some of the open chords down here, hear how those open notes are just ringing. You don't really have any control over them. Whereas this, let's try that together. Just 4 to the bar first. 1, 2, 3, and it's kind of fun to do a little bit of pressure and release rather than going, but do a little pressure and release. Puts a little bit of rhythm into the thing, doesn't it? that with me. Let's add another chord into the mix. How about a B minor? Let's put them together a little bit. Maybe with a little bit of rhythm in it. Okay. Let's try something different. Let's start on a B flat minor. Now you're going to say, B flat minor, what? Don't like that flat stuff. Yeah, most guitar players don't. Guitar is an instrument that is very happy in the key of D and A and G and C. Starts to get a little unhappier if you're a chordal type strumming player, because those are the keys that the horns play in and that sort of thing. So if you're ever in an R&B or a funk band with a horn section, you're going to want to be able to play in B flat and a lot of other those flat keys. But anyway, we know how to play a B flat minor 7. All you have to know is that there's A, 1 up is B flat. Okay, play that with me. Hear that? We're going to be going back and forth between C minor. We're going to do a little connecting like that. So here's what it sounds like. Try that with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. A little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and if you were doing like a really up-tempo thing, like whatever you like to make up that you think sounds kind of cool and all that. So you can now play a minor 7 chord anywhere on the guitar. What's this? Well, all you need to know is what that note is. There's the octave E, so that's obviously a D. Let's check it out. And yeah, it's a D minor, all right. C minor, A minor, G minor. Okay, you can play them anywhere. Alrighty. Now, generally speaking, a minor chord can act as a transitional chord going to a 7th chord, a dominant 7th chord, and then to a destination. Okay, so in other words, when you're playing this A minor 7, it may very well happen, not always, but it may very well happen that the next chord you come to is a D7. Now you know this C7, so it stands to reason, and once again you're not playing this top note or the bottom note, you're just playing the inside notes. So you would be going from the A minor 7 to the D7. And let's try that. Okay. Matter of personal choice here. You can also, because you've got the D here and here, you can put the note A on the bottom if you want a slightly softer sound. Listen. Instead of, it's this. Up to you. It's not a big deal. Okay. Let's do a D minor G7 thing. Let's try this. G7, and And you're going to say, well, wait a minute, how come you know that's G7? Well, these notes, starting with this C7 that you already know, there's the note C, and that's where it takes its name from. So here's D7, here's E7, F7, and way up here, G7. So you can do this, D minor 7 to G7. Try that with me now. Try it. One, two, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 3, 4. 1, 2, and. Okay. So you can now play what's called a 2-5 chord combination in a little bit different way in which you may have been doing up until now. Next lesson is going to be on what to do with the destination that you get to. Okay, so that's the lesson for now. Just mess around with these things, okay? Mess around with some rhythms, you know, everything up to, you know, some fast things like to swing type things. A minor to D7. Okay, and please join me for lesson number 2 coming right up.